Hey, what's going on, everyone? Sly. Still dealing with a little bit of a sore throat, but I want to talk about something that Guy said from his YouTube channel, covers the 49ers, someone that was there during training camp, OTA's mini camp. And, I did a video 2 weeks ago talking about after Brock Purdy went off, how much BS it was, what happened the offseason, how not a few, a lot of 49ers content creators were talking about pretty much bullshit about Brock Purdy, saying how there needs to be competition. It's not fair, people moaning, crying, guys like Rob Stats and all these guys, because, it wasn't fair. Trey Lance wasn't getting a fair shake, which was absolutely BS. And I've never heard one guy on YouTube actually talk about this after the season, and it kind of like got thrown under the rug. But listen to what Guy says, man. And when I heard this on New Year's night, I was pumped up. Like, finally, someone out there that will not let this crap go. And let's check this out. I'll talk about it.
And some things should just be left in the past, and other things should not. One thing that should not be left in the past is that some people thought that Brock Purdy should have been competing with Trey Lance for the 49ers starting quarterback job. And some of you might be thinking, guys, the last day of 2023, I hope you leave this in 2023. I will not leave this in 2023. It was so disingenuous. It was so bad to watch like 3 practices or however many practices anybody who had that opinion had watched and think that that's what should have been happening. And I'm glad I went to way too many off-season practices for the 49ers. And I'm glad that I logged way more passes than anybody ever has in the history of preseason, off-season, and non-competitive football. I probably will not do it again. There won't be a reason, in all likelihood, to do it again. But there was a reason to do it, Guy Football Focus, in 2023. And the reason was my belief that there was an opinion out there so flawed, so off base, so ridiculous, but it happened in such a small, enclosed, dark place, meaning not everybody, it wasn't on television, that somebody had to go in there and figure out what was real and what was fake. And that was one of the fakest, most made-up, agenda-driven BS stories of 2023. I don't have a list of the other most fake, agenda-driven BS sports stories of 2023, but Trey Lance should have the right to compete with Brock Purdy for the starting quarterback job of the San Francisco 49ers is at the top of my list. That was a joke. It remains a joke. It becomes a bigger joke with every week that passes. We'll find out if it becomes a bigger joke with every season that passes. But it became a bigger joke with every week that passes. And then you look up, and the guy said a single season franchise passing record. Whatever that's worth to you, it's worth to you. But even if it's worth nothing to you, it's still worth something for the sake of this conversation. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it then. Believes it even less now. And just another feather in Brock Purdy's cap.
So pretty much, I love it, man. I absolutely love it. Because we were hearing so much fake ass news. It was fake news. Fake news every day from June all the way up to August. It was bullshit, man. And you couldn't go on Twitter without, you could see a list every time. People just ripping Purdy. 49er fans ripping Purdy because they heard this baloney narrative about Brock Purdy. They were being brainwashed. It was absolutely brainwashed because all these content creators were just making up lies, saying Trey Lance is better. It's time to, that what's Kyle Shanahan doing? This is absolutely a travesty. And it was lies, man. It was absolute lies. And I was there at those training camps where I was like, wait, am I going crazy here? Like, why am I hearing this from all these content creators talking about, there should be a quarterback competition and all this. What Brock Purdy did the year before, it was a wrap. There was no question this guy was our quarterback. But the way the local media was portraying it is that Brock, I mean, that Trey Lance was absolute. It was a screw job. It was a Montreal screw job from when Bret Hart got screwed in Montreal against Shawn Michaels. For those WWF guys out there, WWE. That's what it seemed like, and it was like, what the hell is going on? You could just tell there was levels to this. Brock Purdy, in my opinion, well, in anyone's opinion, or most people's opinion, like that know how to freaking scout guys, knew that Brock Purdy was way better than Trey Lance. And so all this offseason, hearing all it basically turned half the fans hating Brock Purdy. It's like, what the hell is going on? What a joke that people would listen to these freaking fake ass people at the facility saying all this bullshit. Absolute joke. Absolute a joke. Me personally, I don't, scout all these college guys, NFL guys. Like, I do it for fun, but when I scout kids, it was like, it was kids, because I would coach kids. So we would have the combines, and right away, that day, you knew, all right, I need this kid on my team. I need this kid. Like, you knew right away. Like, if you know how to evaluate talent, you know which person is good for you. Like, oh, I could use this one. I could use this one. It shouldn't have taken that long for people to realize that Brock Purdy was the guy after last year. It kind of reminded me of when I used to listen to Rombo Sports. Who knows Rombo? And it was a year that we were getting Nick Bosa. And I swear to you, this is why I stopped listening to Rombo. It's because I was hearing day in, day out, Nick Bosa, he sucks. Nick Bosa, he's a racist. Nick Bosa, all this bullshit every day. People calling it. It's not Rombo's fault. It was just people calling in that had fake news. They had fake perception of Nick Bosa. And I remember calling one time, I was like, dude, what the hell is going on? Why is everyone saying Nick Bosa's a racist and Nick Bosa's this and that? He's such a great player. I said, we got to get Nick Bosa. Rombo, we got to get Nick Bosa. It's obvious that he's the guy. And those guys, obviously, I had to stop listening, man, because it was just lies. It was lies. Someone was telling these lies, and it didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me. So I'm all pumped up. When I heard this, I was like, all right, this guy, get it? His name's Guy. This guy. Okay, whatever. But man, I was so pumped up when I heard this. Like, dude, I'm not the only one that's still not going to get over this crap at all. Because, man, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. And it got to the point, too, I think that's why Nick Wright became so envious of Brock Purdy. Because it's out there that he listens to Cone. He listens to the man. So he pretty much get all his information from him. And he was exactly what Cone was saying. This is a travesty, what's going on with Trey Lance, this and that. And what does Nick Wright go on TV? And he does the exact same thing. How Trey Lance is getting screwed. And nothing against Trey Lance, man. When it became down to Mac Jones and Trey Lance, because that's who they said it was going to go after, I wanted Trey Lance because I thought Mac Jones sucked. And I saw there was some potential with Trey Lance. Personally, I wanted Justin Fields, but I knew that was the route. Personally, go back one second. Personally, I wanted Slater, the guard from the Chargers. That's who I wanted. And that would have been a great pickup for us. But I would have picked Trey Lance over Mac Jones even today. Even if the draft was today, I would have picked Trey Lance. And so it's nothing against him, trying to be negative against Trey. But Brock Purdy was our guy. And I'm glad most people are coming on board, but it just shows you, man, like, fake news is everywhere. It's not just when you turn on your TV and put on, the regular news, which a lot of that shit's fake. But it's everywhere. It's in sports too, man. It's in sports too. So my thing is, when you see a player, when you're like evaluating him during the offseason or whatever, college kid, do the eye test, man. Don't listen to what these freaking dudes say. Just feed you just because they want a narrative, a bullshit narrative. Don't listen to that, man. Just go to your eye test. Is this guy any good? Does this guy have what it takes? Does he have the heart? You know, the grittiness, to want to be great. And Brock Purdy, man, he checks all those boxes, man. It's just so funny how this year, out of all the years you want to go after Brock Purdy, say he shouldn't be our guy, whatever. And then he throws for the most yards in 49ers franchise history. Damn, man, you must have a big ass egg on your head. You must have the biggest egg on your head. And you say all this crap and you think that could go under the rug, man. Nah, hell no. That ain't going on the rug. And I appreciate Guy for calling that out, because man, I ain't letting that go. I talked about 2 weeks ago. I think I talked about it a month ago. Every like 2 weeks I bring that up, man. I'm not gonna stop until, I don't know. I want to let it go. I really do. But man, what happened this offseason, just every day just pissed the shit out of me. All these media guys that were talking trash about Brock Purdy, that stuff doesn't even get to me. Like Nick Wright, Joy Taylor, all these national guys, they don't piss me off. But what happened this offseason, hearing all the content creators saying this is BS, that shit pissed me off. Like, that's the only thing that actually pissed me off. Last week, we were hearing all the stuff with Purdy. None of that stuff got to me. Colin Cowherd, I laugh at that stuff, because those guys, they're not here all the time. They're not at these training camps and whatever. So, yeah, but that did in the off season with the content creators. That shit pissed me off. But yeah, man, just had to get that off my chest. I'm glad someone else feels and still talks about it to this day, like Deontay Wilder says, to this day, about the whole situation. But man, Brock Purdy, he's the man. At the end of the day, he's the quarterback. He's going to be the quarterback for a very long time for the 49ers. Now I'm confident about that. I'm a dude. I like Jeff Garcia. I like that he got that record 2000. Very underrated. Very underrated that year. Amazing year, what he did that year. And unfortunately, our defense sucks, so no one really talks about that year. Until 2000, man, guys like Jeff Ulbrich, I believe, Derek Smith. Gosh, I could name a list of guys. Just horrible. What a horrible team that was. On defense, excuse me. But for him to do that, Brock, and just take that record and just, just run with it. You gotta know that this guy, he's gonna be the guy for years to come, and he's just gonna get better. He's just gonna get better. He's gonna know the game more, and I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. And imagine him when he has a pretty good offensive line, because right now, let's be real, our offensive line from center to right tackle, it's not good at all, man. It's not good at all. But when he has guys that can actually protect, and we're able to run to the right side, we're able to run to the left. But when we're able to run to the right side, extend drives, him get more passing touchdowns, I'm telling you, man, this isn't going to be his best year. It's not going to be his best year. The years to come, he's going to have better years. He's going to probably pass this record that he has. And I'm confident. There was a lot of meat on the bones this year in that regular season. So, pumped up, man. Absolutely pumped up for Brock Purdy and the 49ers. But that's what I got, man. And let me know what you think about this, and talk to you next time.